again, here in this country, with the weapons of anti-immigrant legislations, the weapons of anti-immigrant rhetoric, hate activities, and the weapons of enforcement. In the case of Mexico, as you probably heard, these people are trapped. Every Friday, I'm at a detention center for 4.5 years. And I just started a year ago because of our law that we're implementing. I'm there at 4:30 in the morning. And last Friday, as I always, these kids are so fearful to go. A lot of youth in the last several months, they're so fearful because as soon as they are in the border, all the people, the whole cartel, the violence, everything that's happening there, so their lives are at risk. And 34,000 people, that's the number of deaths in between 2007 and 2010. So, what do we do as immigrants after the law didn't pass in 2007? Immigrants, whether documented or undocumented, we ask ourselves, what could we do now that we are living in uncertainty? Could we do something for ourselves, to assist ourselves, to do for ourselves? What is God telling us? All of us are pilgrims, not just immigrants. All people of faith are pilgrims. God is walking with us. How is our faith inviting us to be transformed and to transform society? That was the question. Then the immigrant-to-immigrant ministry, which in Spanish we call Pastoral Migratoria, was formed as a response to that question. It's a ministry that connects faith and lives as immigrants in this country, to read the realities of immigrants with the lenses of faith, engages in service and justice actions, responds the reality with service and justice actions, and we are formed as leaders for their parish communities. They are leaders, ministers, agentes de pastoral migratoria in their parish community. This is a ministry of empowerment. Empowerment that comes from our faith, and it is engaged in the realities of immigrants in this country. The immigrant-to-immigrant ministry has 4 components. One is reflection, which is very, very important. We read the scriptures in the context of the present reality and society. We see these stories that we just talked about, Craig and Liz. We see from the immigrant reality. I could not believe how they developed their Psalms of Immigrants. I invite you to go and visit their website. It's unbelievable. If you want to read really Psalms now, the pain and the hopes, and how God is so present when women cannot go to work, the pain and all the things that are experienced, and God is vividly present with people. So that is one of the components of the immigrant-to-immigrant ministry. Reflection, the scriptural reflection, Catholic social teaching, prayer, and we have retreats. The second component is service. After a series of training, I'm going to talk a little bit about the training, but they might choose to do informational tables, have an informational table after masses in basic information for immigrants. They might choose to develop workshops on immigration, housing, education, domestic violence, all kinds of things. Or they can develop have a legal clinic. That's one of a huge need that they have. Health fairs, because people don't go to doctors, to dentists. So we can bring those resources into the parish community, or filling out income taxes, etc. And accompaniment is another thing too. Support families who are separated by detention and deportation. And I'll touch a little bit at the end. Justice, also continue working for immigration reform, as well for other related issues to the immigrant community, racial profiling, labor issues, etc. And in this process, leadership development is very, very important. We have a training, a 5 to 9 week training in clusters of parishes. We don't do training only in one parish. We recommend that the parishes work together. So they have like 5 or 6 or 7 parishes together, and the pastors are very involved. This is very, very important because they are the ones who have to assist us in in the infrastructure of this ministry in the local parish. So we use a model of the training to trainers, and leadership development is very, very important. We work in collaboration with several organizations for each of the components. As you can see, we work very closely with the Council of Mexico. We've been working from 2000. We just started in 2009, and we have the priests and the deacons and the sisters. They help us in the theologians, the reflection. This is an area that is in development. The ones who are more developed is the information and resources somehow. But reflection is something that we just had great news of having a wonderful team of clericians and several theologians who are helping us to develop a curriculum, an outstanding curriculum that is going to be helping in this ministry. We are in the process of creating infrastructure in the parish ministry. The Cardinal, this is very symbolic. I learned a lot, but one of the things that the Cardinal does, we wanted to make sure that this is a ministry within the local parish. So we created an infrastructure in the local parish. It's not just a little program, an initiative that's going to be a 6-month. No, this is a ministry. So the Cardinal agreed to sign a letter, because all the gentes, the ministers of Pastoral Migratoria, they receive a Bible, and he signs, and he says, actually, blessings in your ministry to immigrant, your Pastoral Migratoria immigrant to immigrant ministry. And the bishops are present in commissioning ceremonies, and we have around 400 leaders who were trained in these last 2 years in 55 Hispanic parishes and 5 Polish parishes. And as I said, we always work in clusters of parishes. I want to touch very briefly, just give me 2-3 minutes regarding deportations and accompaniment. There's an estimate of 12,000 people who are deported from Broadview. 35% are criminal deportations, and 65%. And can you see the number? These numbers come from the Department of Homeland Security. In my personal experience, because I'm there every single Friday, my numbers are lower than these. My numbers are 20% criminal cases, 80% non-criminal cases. The stories after stories, for me, Fridays are Good Friday, the Stations of the Cross, are very difficult days for me. When families, husbands, wives particularly, little kids, and the families who are being separated for deportation is just unbelievable. And the cases after cases are, you name it, traffic violations, or any tiny little traffic violation now being deported. All these laws, 1996, that was the worst immigration law under Clinton. That law now, all the kinds of things, people who are being deported in 3 days. Wednesday was detained, and Friday it was, and there is this lady with 4 kids, and she's pregnant, and the 3 little kids. What do you do in 3 days? It's just Sister Pat and Sister Joanne, there are 2 sisters who really worked to pass this religious access legislation in 2008. They call it, they just say it's evil. That's the only way that we can explain these kind of things. And seeing people not as human people. These are numbers, quotas, files, and the way how they're being treated. Because people in detention centers are not just handcuffed. They are shackled, handcuffed, and chained. Isn't that one of these is not enough? Why do you have to do that? And they're being deported in cages. The buses are cages. So when we go and we want to talk to them, we cannot, we have to use a tiny little hold and talk, and everything is like in cages. It's unbelievable. So we've been every Tuesday. Today there were 90 people